Hello, this is Mark again. Welcome back to QM Kung Fu, and this is another video in our series of Wing Chun book reviews. So today I'm going to be reviewing this book, which is Wing Chun Kung Fu, Chinese Art of Self-Defense by Yimm Lee. So this is an even older book than the last one, but I think a slightly better one. So this was 1972 this was published, so this is the first generation of sort of Wing Chun books to come out when sort of Bruce Lee had popularised it. So I'll talk a little bit about the author later, but Yimm Lee is basically, he's sort of the unacknowledged other Bruce Lee character. He had a diverse range of training background and taught a lot of people quite good martial arts. So what can I say about this book? So this is an old school book. So it's got the panel, black and white panel philosophy going on, because there wasn't anything else at that point. That was the only way people thought to write martial arts books. But it's one of the better done ones, I would say. Because it has a strong emphasis on the principles and the theory at the beginning before it just, dumps the whole Siu Nim Tau on you in a series of black and white frames. So what's in this book? You've got a sort of short introduction, philosophical, I'm mates with Bruce Lee section, which is all fine and interesting. And if you like Bruce Lee trivia, there's some in there. Then it's got my favourite section is the bit in the next part, which is the key principles of facing, centre line, simultaneous attack and defence, and then also the idea of the gates, inner, outside, high, low gate, and positioning. So it's all told with a block of text on one side, so you've got sort of one side block of text, and on the other side a couple of panels. So it's quite good. It's not too bad. It's a very concise description of some of these key points, and it really is the strongest part of the book is there. Then the whole middle section, which is a good chunk of many still photographs of the author, is the entire Siu Nim Tau in slow and painful panel by panel detail. But at least he has a shirt on, so so that's good. So that's in there. It's not too bad if you want to see something like that. But I mean, we've got YouTube nowadays, so you don't really need this. Then it's got quite a big section on applications. I think if you just have a look a couple of times, there's a few interesting ones in there, but it's nothing too special. Again, you're probably better off looking on YouTube these days. It's got a short section on Chi Sao at the end, which is not too bad. Basically breaks down Bong Lap Chi Sao. I always think Chi Sao is very difficult to do in book format, but again, it sort of shows the basic ideas of what you're doing, which is done reasonably well. And then it has a very short section on the end on conditioning exercises and what you can do with a Zhong if you don't know the whole Zhong form. And I think the author's quite good there actually, because he was known as a bit of a strength and conditioning guy, and that's really where his interest turned later in life. So I think he's very strong there. So overall it is a very old book. But it's well written. So let's talk a little bit about the author. So Yimm Lee. So he was very similar to Bruce Lee in many ways, but never really made it into the camera. So he was another guy that he'd done Chinese martial arts as a kid growing up. Then he sort of encountered karate and other Western martial arts, and then he was like, this stuff isn't very good, at least the stuff that you guys are being taught. Let me open a school. And he was originally just planning on teaching his kid Wing Chun, his 8-year-old son, and his 8-year-old son didn't like martial arts and wanted to do tennis instead. So he was like, oh well, I've made all these notes and I've spent all this time learning it, I might as well write a book, I might as well start teaching some classes. And people noticed that he was quite good, no nonsense, practical. He trained in a number of different styles, sort of Western and Chinese and Japanese, so he was similar to Bruce Lee in that respect. He'd done a lot of stuff. He wasn't really a master of Wing Chun. Like, he definitely done a good number of 10, 12 years training, but it wasn't his only thing. He'd done like Siu Lim, Nam Pai Chan, like some of the other northern Buddhist styles, and like Hung Gar and a bit of Chow Gar. So he'd done some other southern styles as well, and boxing and other things. So he was quite a well-rounded, well-informed, no-nonsense kind of guy, and a strong emphasis on your basics and your conditioning. So I quite like it. He's not the highest level technical artist, but a good solid understanding of what makes of what works and what's applicable, and a good not too wedded to one way of thinking about things, which is also good. Sadly, he has passed away, so I think he died of lung cancer, because he used to work as a manual labourer, which is a bit sad. But it's a reasonably good book. You can probably get it very, very cheap if you want to. So second hand, I think I've seen a few around for not very much money at all. First section is very strong. The key principles and the ideas, especially if you are a beginner. It's got the Siu Nim Tau in there, but all the stills you can go elsewhere. If it's cheap, I would recommend getting it, and if it's a couple of quid, it's probably worth a shot. Okay, thank you very much. Train hard, and hopefully see you next time. Bye.